Good morning, folks. Welcome back to Saxthorpe Farms. It's a little bit early for doing this kind of thing, I guess. It's not really that early. I've been awake thanks to insomnia since I think it was 2:30 when I gave up. I had the brilliant idea that I would get up and go try and sleep in the armchair downstairs. It was really hot in the bedroom. It's crazy hot here again today, and I thought maybe it was cooler downstairs, but I did not go back to sleep. So yeah, I've been awake a long time. I know I am going to crash this afternoon quite hard, probably. And the weather is supposed to be a bit stormy later, and I know the dogs won't enjoy that. So there's no way I could be doing this kind of thing with storms in the area. So it seemed sensible to crack on and get some work done. So morning, Kartek, Pete, Noel, Mark. Good to see you all here. I'm kind of pleased that there is someone turning up to watch, because it's a really random time of the day, I guess, for everyone for me to actually be streaming. So yeah, it's good to see some of you. I'm hoping that this will brighten up your Saturday. It's like when you were a kid and you were watching Saturday morning cartoons, you know. I'm not going to give away my age and tell you who they were when I was a kid, but you know, it's just like that, I'm sure. Sorry to keep you away from your nap, Pete. We might have to start the day with a little bit of cheaty strength to get the tractor off the low loader. Or we should just unstrap the low loader. But we still need a bit of cheaty strength. But I have installed all of the bigger low loaders that you suggested, Pete. I just haven't swapped them yet, obviously. I think Swap Shop was a little bit before my time. I think it was a little bit before my time. Certainly don't remember it, so. The plan for that you are definitely showing your age, Mark. It's quite good that you're here, because I'm about to make use of your rather wonderful mod. Because if we check time-saving stock check, the canola is at a really good price, which is a little bit early. So I'm going to get that sold. I am debating the straw is pretty close as well. I'm also pondering selling the oats. That's not a massive difference. And if I need to do that, I am pondering purchasing a trailer. Let's just check the sales. 50,000 litres. I have got Maize Plus enabled though, because I'm planning to use it in the future. And we're actually going to make sort of use of it. I'm not going to get the mother bin, Kartek. Not helping. We do not need that. So I have filled that in testing, and it's quite a beast to try and maneuver once it's full. It gets quite heavy. Um, that that is somewhat. What's it going to cost for the 50,000? Be 45 grand. Practical, not boring. I'm not trying to get a mother bin round these roads. It would not work, and I'd get frustrated and ranty, which might be enjoyable for you, but it's not for me. So actually thinking of getting this trailer, which is equally boring. 48,000 litres for £35,000. And I think that'll go all right on the back of the Volvo. I think that'll go right on the back of the Volvo. The alternative is that I just use the Richard Westons, which do you get to see the process that I go through when I'm recording a video that I don't actually show all of, because the Richard Westons would hold 36. I don't think there are any covered tip points on here, Pete, so I don't think that matters. I think they're all outside. But I could use these and do 36,000, or the other trailer's 48. And 36, they would all be 2 trips anyway with the truck or the tractors. So I'm kind of tempted to use the trailers we've got and save some money for now. This is the process that I go through normally when I have turned off OBS. But we haven't got that far yet today. No. Or we haven't had OBS crash yet. Yeah, that's why I got stupidly, the smaller trailer has the hitch on the back. I originally did it to tow around the header trailers, but the header trailers won't hook up to it. So this is how I've been getting the grain trailers to the field. And I would use one of the other tractors to move one of the headers and then hitch them up once we got to the field. So and put the time on about ×3. So depending on how long I stay on, the plan then is to forage the cornfield. I have edited the rather wonderful CCM fermenter available on ModHub. The edited version is not available on ModHub. So that it will also ferment maize. I just need to work out where I'm going to stick it. Actually, that might be kind of an amusing spot. Just tuck it in there somewhere. I think the triggers are both pretty much where the spout is. Or back here. Actually, there's a door there. That's very inconvenient. It would be difficult for auto drive to get to, but stick it there. Actually, that would work, and auto drive could get it then. I'm trying to remember if I've installed. So I downloaded auto drive, guys, Saxthorpe auto drive network, and I think I did not install it. Where am I going with the canola? Oh, Saxthorpe grain. Which one's that? And I remember which one is. I think it's this one. Yes. I think I've forgotten to install it, so I've still got my very noddy auto drive network, but it's not far to field 5, so I can quite easily knock up a bit of an auto drive network. I've gone for the rather interestingly branded. I did not know this was a thing. So on the Glenlarthen stream, I asked about forage harvest suggestions, and people shared some, and Mark shared the Mengele self-propelled forage harvester. And I did not realise that Mengele was also an agricultural brand and not just a complete nutter. So yeah, I thought I'll just Google how you pronounce that, and yeah, that was an educational morning. It was an educational morning. I think I probably do want auto drive doing the karting, so um, I just have. I assume that's lag Kartek or your brain. It is early on a Saturday morning, as in Joseph Mengele. The I believe he was the you can Google Joseph Mengele if you aren't aware. I believe he was the doctor that worked in the concentration camps, committing all sorts of crazy experiments on people during World War II. So I wasn't going to go into massive detail, but seeing as you're clearly an uneducated heathen, I guess you are from the Midlands, then me too. Apparently, they make really good. The rest of the family make really good agricultural equipment. Just the one of them that was a bit special. And yeah, I'm not going to talk about that too much more. I don't think. And yes, I have learnt more about stone picking since then, which was really quite interesting. I did not realise, which was probably clear from the Terra Life stream, that when they do the stone picking, they basically just push the stones into the trough. I thought that was really interesting. So, I'd have thought you wanted to take the stones out of the field, personally. So, but you know, I'm not a farmer. I am but a lowly sort of engineer. But I don't have a hammer or a spanner that's to do with work. So the only time I watched one of the years that I was running an ultra marathon, it was around a couple of farms, and they were ridging a massive potato field, two ridges at a time, going at what looked like about 3 miles an hour. Took them all day to ridge this field. And it was not obvious to me that they were doing anything to the stones with that part of the process. But it was quite cool to see it in action. And what was also quite cool is they the first thing was just how big a tractor they were using. They were using a thank you for the follow, Elite Farming. I actually spotted the alert pop up then. They were using a pretty big John Deere. I would be completely guessing if I guessed at which model it was, but it was pretty immense. And they were just doing the two furrows at a time, which was, yeah, pretty crazy. But the bit that amused me the most is they were using two blokes with sticks to get the furrows or the ridges in lines. So one guy would stand at one end of the field with a stick, and then one guy would stand at the other end of the field with a stick. It was brilliant. You know, he got like this, I don't know, couple £100,000 tractor, and it's being guided by two blokes with sticks. It was, I just, yeah, I just thought that was epic. Okay, was Kartek actually right about the ridges being to help with the shape of the potatoes? I assumed he was just being Kartek-y. Morning, Elite and Chris. It it definitely looked a serious bit of kit to do the ridging. I need to watch the that's not how it's pronounced from all the documentaries I've watched about him. It might make YouTube unhappy when this gets loaded across. We'll see. I don't know if it's like the K brand and it gets people upset. That's why I didn't want to labour on the pronunciation too much. Once I shared the story about working out how it was pronounced, because weirdly I didn't recognise it written down until I googled it. That's really cool, Pete. I'm learning lots about actual farming. The next question is, do I wait and see if I can get another 4 grand on the oats, or do I get those sold as well? I'm tempted to just get them sold while the price is good. I might regret that later. I kind of have the philosophy, if the price is close to being a really good price, you may as well grab it in case, for whatever reason you miss it. So, for example, I am going to be skipping lots of time once we've done this job, and there's every chance that I won't be paying attention and I'll just skip right past a good price. The other bit that I didn't mention at the start, which was because I had originally prepped the start of this video to do it as a normal video, is I finished up November 1 and 2 over on the oaks. I did quite a lot of contracts. I kept it on ×5, so I was trying not to really. There were way more fertilizing contracts than I could do on there, but I made about 200 grand. It was pretty nuts. There were a couple of jobs that were sort of £60,000. So it was a really good injection of cash, and we can probably go field shopping in the next couple of videos, which will be good. They did have a stick on the front of the tractor. I'd forgotten that bit. I think they had 2, actually. I think they had a cross of sticks on the tractor, and then the guys at either end of the field holding sticks to aim at. Morning, Nightcloak. So, do I sell the oats or not? Or do I hold out until... It says best price is January. I am not spreading my oats all over Twitch. I think that probably ends badly. You'll have to tune into Only Farms for that. Have a look. So we're in November. So in theory, it's going to go up a fair bit into Jan. I'm going to hold on to those, I think. Right. Where did I leave the other tractor? I don't even need to aim for it to hit it. Very much like you, Kartek. But for those of you that watched the Glenlathan stream, I have at least on here got my tractors repaired and with fuel in. I do need a crash counter, maybe. I wasn't even aiming for it, see, and I crashed into it. That does not count. I did not get to the collision. But there's a reason that I've left the lorry waiting as well, because I'm going to take that to the store. I don't usually buy front weights, but I did want to have more nice ones in this. So, yeah, I suspect that the forage harvester is going to be incredibly slow. So I want to just fold the trailer. I don't think we'll need the trailer at full width. I want to take the lorry to go grab it because I'm sure it will be much quicker. And I don't think I have store deliveries active on here, so. And it's not far to the store, and it's a pretty map, so. We could even go in cab. And then you won't see quite so much when I crash, maybe. I was playing about a bit yesterday. Thursday. Might have been Thursday with VCA. And actually, I haven't plugged in my macro keyboard. I'll do that in a moment. Because I need that for enhanced vehicle with VCA and all of the looking, so that it when you turn, it looks into the turn. And I don't know whether I like that or not. It has potential. But I'm not sure how well it will work with recording videos. Do love how this map looks. I particularly love the car park of the shop and the truly trashed concrete. I can imagine that being almost every tractor dealer across the UK, or at least every smaller tractor dealer across the UK. Oh, I do have store deliveries installed. Well, we'll make sure it's reset. I have still not come and picked up those pallet forks, but right. Forage harvesters. So the MSF 6600. Dear Mark, thanks for stopping by. It's a bit of a weird time to be doing this, so I wasn't actually expecting that many people. I'm kind of shocked that there are 9 of you. At the moment, Elite, I don't have any plans to stream on YouTube. Partly because at the moment I'm trying to get Twitch affiliate sorted. So that's why I'm streaming over here. And I don't think I could cope with multi-streaming. So we're going to get the silage additive and the fat tires in honor of Eagles. Morning, Mr. Farouk. No, not Mr. Farouk. That's the wrestler, Mr. Farquhar. So random. So to divert back into that story from last time, I had YouTube recommend a Ron Simmons video 2 days ago or 1 day ago, who was obviously Farouk. So yeah, YouTube are listening. So 34 £4,000 for the forage harvester. We're then going to go into the mod pack, and we're going to get, so there's two corn headers I could use. There's a 3.4 meter one for £6,000 or a 4 meter one for £8,000. So I'm going to get the 4 meter one, obviously. And we'll get a pallet of silage additive. Okay. I am not a huge frequenter of Twitch either, Elite. I am kind of going for the whole, diversification thing. Twitch is maybe kind of a dying platform, with all of the stuff that's going on with the deals they're giving to some of their bigger creators, but they figured there's no harm in a bit of diversification. And I should not have folded the trailer in. How heavy is the pallet? 250 kilos for 50 litres of silage additive. Someone's math seems a little bit off to me. That can't weigh more. What's a pallet weigh? 30 kilos? Empty wooden pallet? There's no way that can weigh 250 kilos. I wasn't far off then. So I'm pretty sure that I'm strong enough that I could pick that up in reality. So, oh. Don't you love being live? Cut. We'll just edit that bit out. Just edit that a little bit out. Nothing happened there. I guess in that case, we'll go for the lift up to there. You could say it's a charm of being live. Are you sure you don't want to watch hot tub streams? Those are available over on my Only Farms channel. Very reasonable rates. Lifetime membership is available, as Kartek knows. It's quite a nice looking forage harvester. I had assumed that it was based on we should probably stick those on, seeing as we're driving down the middle of the road, even though the area is currently deserted. I think I'm washing my hair that day. That's why I only offer lifetime subscriptions, Karthek. There's actually only one video on there. That's all that's needed. There is logic to what I'm doing. I want to have the truck and trailer out of the way. That's some good thinking. Maybe some trauma counselling afterwards. One free session provided with your lifetime membership. Slurry hot tub sounds very, very grim. Right. So we need to place the silo now. And I do quite like that spot that I picked out over here. Right. Go for about there. So let's show you the little edit that I did. So originally the version that's on ModHub does the CCM cycle, and I just added in a maize silage cycle, so nothing particularly amazing. It's got 500,000 litres capacity, so hopefully I'm not going to get more than that off of here. Probably need to do some auto drive stuff because, as I said, I downloaded Auto Drive Guys network and then promptly forgot to add it to the save. So delete that curve. We do. Link it up to this bit first and then we'll link it to the field. I haven't listened to Joe Rogan in a very long time. I'm going to, so I can get the trigger in the right place. Again, you're seeing the background stuff. Going to F12 the trailer full and then empty it again. So I'm not messing about too much with the trigger placement. So, because I haven't used this mod in a very long time, like since I finished testing it to upload to ModHub. There we go. Come on, give me another spot. Minting silo. And then I should be able to swing around in there, I think. Loads of room. Can't see that going wrong at all. And then let's empty that. Go off there. Up to the field. Stop there for now. We will do F fill the rest in afterwards. So generally, I used to only use auto drive to do things like this. But I have found with going to doing all the contracting work on Maypole, it was really useful having a full auto drive network. And since then, think I've only played 2 maps since then. Mark did a whole load for us on Glenlathan, and I started building quite a lot on here, but now Autodrive Guy's done one. I'm just going to use theirs because theirs are generally way better. You can see I've got really lazy with filing all of my waypoints as well. So we can turn that on. We can put that on. How can you not reach the waypoint you are next to? That's because it's F5. There we go. Right. And then we will set this one up. F5. Okay. See ya. It's got quite a short pipe on this. Got quite a short pipe. I have not got any custom textures in here. I tend not to mess too much with textures. We know you have experience with a short pipe, Kartek, because all the combines on Green Valley had far too short pipes. Is this going to behave, or am I going to need to bung it on follow me? I think for the first loop, we are going to use follow me. Come on. Oh, how did I pause it? I don't remember how I paused it. Right. There doesn't seem to be a worker in there. There we go. And I don't remember the keys. Don't remember the keys. Never do live TV, folks. Some say it is better with a long one, Kartek. Some say it's just how you use it. As you can see from here, I am struggling with how to use it, as well as the fact that it's a short one. Can't follow me. Follow. Right control, right shift, right control H. Okay. Let's unpaused it. Go. Right. There we go. Could really do with watching someone who's done a tutorial on using this. See you, Kartek. Have a good day, buddy. Appreciate you stopping by at such a weird time of the day. I'm trying to remember what it was on. I think it might have been when Kartek and I were harvesting potatoes on Maypole. And I might have boosted the harvester speed using a similar technique to try and help. I was definitely trying to be helpful, not annoying. I think it was on there. We are very quickly going to have a full trailer. And 2 trailers should be enough. Pretty close to the farm. Once we're going properly, it should be fine. And the headlands are always a bit of a fact. Okay. Let's make use of park vehicle. Right. And take this round to the silo. In fact, I think I can be very clever. Go out onto the road here. And do that. And then we'll grab this one. I was definitely helping. I was speeding up the process of harvesting. That's help, right? This was definitely help. I should have got silage trailers, but originally, Pete, these were brought to do grain harvesting. And I wasn't going to be doing silage for ages. Because I don't have any cows. And so I don't need silage. So I was having a break from doing things like silage. But then the game decided not to have the corn grow completely. And you lot decided that I shouldn't just plough the field in. So here we are, working with what we've got. And the money that I spend on silage trailers, which I probably won't use then for a few years, and the forage harvester is just going to get parked after this, because I'll probably, well, I say that it might be worth me. I'm going to be growing corn next year. Maybe I should silage the corn rather than combining it next year. But I don't think it's worth getting silage trailers, especially as it is so close to the farm. And I do need the money, but I'm curious. I've spent 34, 42, spent about 70 grand on the harvester and the silo to ferment the silage. So it'll be interesting to see if it ends up being profitable or if we are harvesting the field to pay for the forage harvester. That's one of the bits that the challenge of not leasing stuff makes decisions more complicated, because I could have leased this forage harvester for probably a couple of grand, and it would have been a, why isn't that tipping? Oh, look away, folks, look away. There we go. All fine. Next year will definitely be more profitable, I think, particularly as the crops should yield better as well. And as we get more kit, I can do more contracts as well. So everything should get better in future years. The first year is always a bit, particularly with like precision farming, because the fields aren't in great shape. So, like I did consider a pull behind, or also there was one that attaches to the front 3-point, but they were actually a similar price, and a self-propelled one is infinitely easier. So I think it was going to cost me 30 grand for the Potingham X6, which could go on the rear or the front 3-point, but it was a either 1.8 or 2.2 meter working width instead of 4. So are you going to tip? I appear to have not quite got the point far enough forwards. So go and do that. E. It didn't take many contracts to pay for those combines. I could quite easily see me having a fleet of many. Or keeping those and buying bigger. So the plan that I have for the long term, which is not Fendt, not Deutz, sorry, is a Fendt, probably. I quite fancy one of these in the long term. But obviously, that's quite a lot of cash compared to one of these. Like 4 times the cost. But I suspect it will operate a lot quicker. So, you know, it's one of those trades you spend a bunch more money. Hopefully, you can make more money. And a bit like on, yeah, I can't afford X9s, Pete, and I don't really fancy driving X9s around here. And they're the wrong color green. One thing I am considering is when I can afford to upgrade kit on here, things like the old combines. If I do end up setting up a little yard on the Oaks, I might like leave the old combines there. That kind of thing. So I think it's going to be a long time, Pete, before I spend what's with the header. What's that going to be? About 700 grand on a combine for, maybe once I own most of the map and I've got lots of harvesting to do. But to harvest 6 or 7 fields, and I did a lot of contracts this time, so I did harvest a lot of fields, but don't think I've ever brought an X9. Now let's play. I've used them in testing because they're obviously really quick for harvesting. Oh, Pete. Don't think I'll be buying an air seeder on here. At least not of what I'm assuming the sizes that you have purchased. I think long term, I might go for something like a Lemkin, or that kind of size. Sort of. I don't know if there are any bigger seeders in the horse pack. so we can stay on brand. But I'd like eventually to get probably like a 12-meter seeder. 12 would be good. Oh, we're all trying to be special now. Come on. You're still in there, worker. Yeah, you are. Let's go. No, worker is not in there still. Two 15-meter seeders is not too small, Pete. Two 15-meter seeders is a decent size. See, and you're getting to see some of. I'm sure I usually leave some of this stuff in when I'm playing around with auto drive and courseplay. It's never perfect. I'll do one more run with follow me, I think. I'm going to move it across another meter, give us a bit more room. Pretty sure he's on here. Pretty sure it's on Saxthorpe. With an X9 and 2 air carts. Now, I do believe that you Norfolk, I'm not going to say the other one, which I would normally say. You Norfolk do have some quite big farms with some quite big kit from what I've seen. So I do have another longer term plan to get some fairly big tillage tractors on here. Because I'm pretty sure that a quad track is not unusual to see in across and up in Norfolk. Maybe yeah, it is up and slightly across from where I am. Technically northern. Technically northern. I've just noticed that I'm not using silage additive. Pretty sure I'm running the updated version of Maize Plus, which makes me wonder if this forage harvester is strangely coded. Because the update to Maize Plus should have made it work. So I wonder if the forage harvester is strangely coded. Something to look at another day. I think probably now I can set up the auto drive loop. Which probably means I need to do a loop around the field as well. May as well show you guys that. What time is it? Fairly certain I am not going to get this field finished today, because otherwise I will be streaming all day. I don't have time to stream all day. And it's already gone up 2 degrees in here since I started. Which is fun. Where's that other tractor gone? Oh, it's at the silo. Oops. Anyway, while that's doing that, I can finish up this bit of loop and then we'll sort that other tractor out. I really like the cow farm on here. Probably not a surprise to most people. We're going to do a 2-way secondary loop around the field. So to record that, you hold down a left shift and then a right click on the record button. I'm sure I've seen news articles about quad tracks in Norfolk. I think that maybe the potato farmers in Norfolk. And am I right in thinking that Ollie Blog's mate who had the big fent that grows sunflowers was Norfolkian as well? Or am I making that up? I thought he was a Norfolkian. Right, and off, and then click there, hold down shift and click. No, press shift and click. That's it. And click, press shift and click. So that's a 2-way secondary loop around there. I need to drive. You are not familiar with Ollie Blogs. That's like required viewing. You'll be saying next you don't know who Tom Pemberton is. And because I wasn't concentrating, you made that happen. That's that bit done. Let's loop back around. Hook a few more bits up. So I'm going to go from here. No, not that one. I'm going to try and go that one to that one. So if it's coming the other way around, and then that one to that one. That should sort it. No, let's just sort this tractor out. There. I'm going to drive around and tip this. Take ages. And look at chat in a second. You got a lot of catching up to do, Mr. F. He's made a few changes in the last year. I had a bit of a binge of him yesterday. And got caught up on the 3 that I had missed. Right. That should all be okay now. So Let's see if switch that off for a second. I suspect in reality, Pete, it's probably close to finishing. Let's just check the map. Morning, Monarchs. I did go for it, and I had an interesting chat this morning about the origins of this particular agricultural company and their rather infamous relative. And I was disappointed that Kartek had not heard of him. That was a pretty hot entry. That was a pretty hot entry there, but nicely done, sir. Nicely done. Things should be much easier now. I thought it was quite an appropriate brand. Although we're in Norfolk, obviously we've got Deutz tractors, so having a German branded forage harvester actually seemed quite sensible. So I'll probably do about another. That's very true, Nightcloak. I think I'll probably do about another 25 minutes or so. So we'll carry this on next time. In a way, it's not a surprise that a lot of it, just in general, I suspect a lot of modern industry is linked to kind of technological advances with World War II and stuff, because war generally drives lots of technology advancement very quickly. So yeah. So yeah. War generally drives technological advancement, so it's not a surprise. And if you can build a tractor, sorry, well, both ways. If you can build a tractor, you probably have the engineering knowledge to build a tank, and if you can build a tank, you probably have the engineering knowledge to build a tractor. So I need to set up pre-calling. Yes. Let's go with that. I always find it's a bit random when you need a couple of tractors. Good morning, Mr. Briscoe. You might recognise the field. We're getting a little bit of a speed boost going on. And good morning, Raw. I am really pleased to see so many of you here at such a random time on a Saturday, but making massive general assumptions, I assume most of us are computer geeks, so would probably be sat playing on our computers anyway. I got ahead of myself yesterday and managed to get the grass cut yesterday morning. Yeah, yesterday morning I got the grass cut. I didn't have to do that today. It looks like we're going to have 2 full trailers in a minute. And because I'm home alone, there's not much mess in the house. I am very slowly boiling in this room. It's now up to 28 degrees. Not helped by the fact that I have the door shut, the window shut, and a computer running. So I did think of you, Mr. I can still say Mr. F. There are no other F's in here, I don't think. When they mentioned on the news about the Formula One. It will be interesting to see if those very special folks from Just Stop Oil make an appearance. Why are you going all the way around there? I know why. Let's, before you start, let's make a quick amendment to the loop. We might lose a bit of crop doing this. We might lose a bit of crop doing this. We might go there to there to there, and then should do. There. That should help that out. You can just see just how bad I am at designing auto drive routes now. Right, come on. As Nightcloak says, natural selection. So I suspect most of you are aware that I live fairly close to the Dartford crossing, which is where two of them camped for 2 days in the high tension cables of the suspension bridge. I think it was 2 days, which caused utter chaos. I basically decided I wasn't going out in my car because the traffic jam at some points was past my house in the residential area that we live. And there were some quite interesting discussions around just let the cars go. You just let the cars drive across the bridge. And the problem is that you get into this massive health and safety nightmare of, it does become natural selection if one of the protesters that's hung themselves across a motorway falls and dies. That becomes natural selection. But if they fall and injure someone else because you're letting the general public drive under them, that becomes a whole different ball game in terms of, liability and all that kind of stuff. So it made sense to me why they closed the bridge while there were people hanging over it. Some locals from the other side of the river started shooting fireworks at them at night to encourage them to leave. Not that I condone that kind of thing, but we get them gluing themselves to the roads as well. That's how. I'm not sure how much of Just Stop Oil's stuff has made it across to the mainland in terms of what they've been up to. But they started off with gluing themselves to roads. Actually, they started off with gluing themselves to major roundabouts near where I live, because again, that caused major chaos for the M25 and the Dartford crossing. So they started with that. They then went to climbing the gantries across motorways and sitting on those all day, and that was the same problem, that they couldn't have cars running under them while there were people on them. And now they've gone to this kind of much more public stuff where they are doing it on major televised things. So it's yeah, it's and so saying about them needing jobs. The two that camped on the bridge, one of them was, I believe, an architect, potentially one of the architects that had been design involved in the design of the bridge. Um, One of them was working here on a visa, and they're surprised that the intent is to deport him once he's finished his prison sentence. Um, yeah, but they seem to be an interesting mixture of rich nutters, which is never good, um, average confused people, and yeah, just really random people. So yeah, without, sounds like you're from near where I am, because we say th with a v. Um, I know that they've brought in a lot of rules. So I think the other thing that they've been doing is um, blocking fuel depots. And again, where I am, there are lots of fuel depots in the area, and so quite often, if you're out on the streets locally, there are signs up warning about those new rules and how protesting is illegal on certain routes. I have read the signs a couple of times, but I don't remember all the details. But yeah, with where I live, they those rules are being actively advertised. So I've not seen where they get their money from, Pete. I have seen that there's quite a random mix of like rich retired doctors and stuff that are complaining about heating bills for normal people. Yeah, it's. I think that the bad thing when then the Dartford crossing one obviously affected us locally quite a lot. But there were a lot of people that were really seriously affected by that. I think there were people that missed funerals and family members dying and stuff. So it's I think they've caused someone to I'm trying to remember. I may have the exact details wrong, so don't quote me. I believe there was a patient in an ambulance that had had a stroke and needed to get to hospital for full emergency treatment, and the ambulance couldn't get through, and so they had life lasting damage from that. Yeah, I think you're right, Mr. Farquhar. Um, I don't have, well, I don't know all the details of their cause, but they are not getting public sympathy with their approach, and the government aren't going to take them seriously. So, you know, they need a new plan. Uh, I I would never have seen him then, Pete, because I ain't watching that idiot on TV. Actually, that's wrong. I've watched some of his stuff, but we watched the series that he did where he was interviewing female death row inmates, which was quite interesting. But that was more because it wasn't about him. So far, this seems to be going surprisingly okay now. I think the two trailers is working out okay, even though they're not silage trailers. Yeah, I think this will be a nice steady job now. Nightcloak. He's certainly a guy who has attracted a lot of hate, and has been cancelled from some things. So, I mean, saying that could be Jeremy Clarkson. To be fair, he hated on some royals and has been cancelled from some things as a result. So that can be a lot of journalists in this country. I think Jeremy Clarkson is a brilliant man. He's of a generation which are fairly opinionated. Hey Pete, but I think he's genuinely very funny and trying to do some good things for farming and that kind of thing. So, um, raw, yes, I believe you will still get charged even if the products are empty. You could check easily enough by looking at the. I'm pretty sure the finances tab tells you production costs. So it'd be pretty easy to check, but I'm pretty sure you do get charged. So thanks for stopping by without, and glad the tutorials are useful. Why make them? Not heard of him, Pete. No. I would kind of like a you, love. Could you just pop over and probably busy. She's probably busy. Yep. Yeah, I think that's a fair comment, Mr. F. You don't have to agree with everything someone does. Because some people do is completely bonkers. But I think with the farming stuff, Clarkson is genuinely trying to help out small UK farmers, and that's the bit that you have to be careful with, I guess, is you're mostly getting an edited Amazon view of stuff. If I put my kind of level head on, so it's but yeah, something that we spoke about when we were watching it. By we, I mean me and Mrs. D. To be fair, some of the stuff on there's been separate news stories about, and the people that are being, the kind of not in my backyard folks are kind of being a bit dumb. So I'm going to be very stereotypically rude now. Germany has comedians. Sorry. Apologies to any of my German friends that may or may not watch. I So we can have another little story. What? So I've spoken about the fact that I run a lot, and alongside that, I generally eat. I say generally because not always. I generally eat a ketogenic diet, because that's really good for migraines. Um, and that meant that I've spent a lot of time in Facebook groups and stuff talking about nutrition and eating a certain way. And you get like that in there, in that it becomes a bit of an echo chamber, and everyone is of the same mindset and against the same things, and you do become very kind of self reaffirming. Uh, it's something that you do have to be careful of when you get in a smaller group of people. In and for whatever that smaller group of people are interested in, it can be a problem. So, God, man, I don't watch 8 out of 10 cats. It generally, well, it may not anymore. It used to have Jimmy Carr on it, who I did not find particularly funny. But I kind of made it a no-go for me. And if we can get a couple more headlands done, and then I might call it a day. Come on. Where's the other Carter? It'd be really nice if Giants had an intermediate size map view, because that's too close, because I can't see what auto drive is doing. That's way too big. I need one that shows like a quarter of the map. That would be very useful. Um, um, if you're still here, Farms in Briscoe, this is what I was saying about it driving over the berms around the fields, and it's got stuck. I don't know. It's weird that it's not just following but it's not just following the course that runs around the field. So, I have not used Twitter in a very ever really. Um, got to admit, not really, never really got into Twitter. Um, and the only stuff that I hear about Twitter now is when they talk about it on the WAN show on LTT, and it sounds like it's from a business point of view a burning mess. So no rush, folks. We can wait. There's only 10 of us here. Well, I guess 11 technically. Come on. Come on. Oh, yeah, I might try it. I normally do use the button to call them, but I've forgotten what I've got it mapped to. Control Alt and 7. Someone, please. There we go. There is a tractor coming. Morning. Coop? I'm going to go with it's not co-op. You're not named after the supermarket in the UK. I need to slow time down. But otherwise, it's going to end up being dark. We still have loads to do, so. Ah, that makes sense. So Coop would make sense. Cooper. Okay. I really suck at pronouncing names, as Farouk will know. Okay. That would be much easier to say. It's very confusing when people have different names on different platforms. Should be banned. Yeah. Let's squeeze in one more round. The dogs aren't complaining yet, so it would make life much easier if you were just Mr. Farouk. And then I could call you Rom. And you probably need to log into PC to change it. I would think my general experience of the Twitch app is it's not very good. I can understand you driving over the edges. Why are you driving into trees? I do love how you end up shortening people's names, Pete. So we just call him Massey Ferguson, and that's actually that is much easier. I know how to pronounce Massey Ferguson. We will go for Massey Ferguson. See, you're learning. You're learning, Ron. I got to say, for your second map, you did do a pretty darn good job on putting this together. The yard is much nicer after the contractors came and put all the buildings in for me that were missing. It did look a little bit sparse early on, but it is in 8 weeks as well. That is pretty impressive, sir. It's pretty impressive. That means that we can expect the next one in, like I'll give you an extra 2 weeks because it's a bit bigger. Like about 10 weeks. Plenty of time, isn't it? And then I can have 3 of your maps all linked together. It was quite handy being able to dash down to the Oaks and earn a bit of extra cash. Between you and all the other guys making Norfolk maps, I think that's probably going to happen. We've got you, we've got Ron over there making one. Is VF still making his map? I was getting the notifications for his streams that he was mapping, but I've not seen them in a little while. I don't know if he's still going. It definitely seems to be a very popular area to make maps for. What I should have done, Pete, is stolen some tractors so I had a few more people carting. Right, it's out on the road. It looks a bit... Oh. It is too hot to deal with your idiocy, auto drive. There we go. Good morning, Simu Dad. Nice to meet you. There was another guy here a little while ago that looked just like you. Sounded a little different. Off we go again. Which tractor have we got? This trailer might... No, this is the smaller trailer. This trailer might hold enough to get us around, but I don't think so. If the mappers were really good, they'd make the gates automatically open for us. But, you know, some of these mappers just can't be bothered to really try that hard. I am quite tempted to go into Giants Editor and put a bunch of collisions round the fields, sticking out of the top of the berms, to try and discourage auto drive from doing that. Although saying that, on Glenlarthen, where the hedges have collisions, that doesn't stop auto drive trying to drive through them. So there is that. I remember there was some gates in 19 that would auto open. To be honest, I just leave most of them open. I think there's only one gate on this map. I think the one that leads up to the cow farm anyway, I've just left open. Night Cloak, I've done one of those. It's not helping. No. Actually, no, there's a few gates, aren't there? I think there's gates at while we... Oh, it's almost here. Yeah, there's more gates. There's gates on the farm over here, I think. Come on. We've just got to get around this last little bit, and then you can have a break. There we go. I'm curious to see how much we've got. I haven't actually looked yet. We'll have a look when we finish this headland, and then next time I can just do the up-down rows. I'm just thinking here, most of the farms here don't have gates on the fields. If they want to keep people out of the fields, they will either stick a plough through the entrance, or park an old trailer or disc harrow or whatever in the entrance. So the bird, I could hear what sounded like noises in the house, and I'm in the house on my own. I will answer your question in a minute, Simudad. Let me just get around the field. No, it's a combination of birds and having many windows open and doors rattling. But it really did sound like someone opened a door. But all my family are in a different country at the moment, so... I think we'll do... So... I'm going to drive you. So to answer your question, Simudad, I do work with computers in my job. These days, it's more just using computers, but I used to do quite a bit of coding for my previous roles. I have been playing with coding and computer games since I was about 9 or 10 years old. Probably. Maybe earlier than that. So I've been coding for quite a long time to some level or other. And so understanding XML in the game, I don't find particularly tricky. No, I didn't have punch cards, Nightcloak, you rather amusing chap. I am, compared to the actual coders we have in the farming agency, I am a complete and utter amateur. I do not understand Lua at all. Lua is like some sort of black magic to me. Feels like you need to sacrifice a chicken and roll a 6, and then things happen. But XML is fairly basic. Most of what I do is playing with numbers and formulas and stuff, which is kind of what I do for a job as well. So yeah, and it turns out that at least in this, I am reasonably good at explaining things to people. So that probably helps. That was a very similar strange feeling to what I just got. It definitely felt like someone had opened a door in a house. Unless the dogs have developed thumbs. Get everything switched off. I'm trying to remember where mine started from, where my tinkering with XML. I think it was probably when Maize Plus came out. Or no, not when Maize Plus was out when I started playing FS19. It was probably when I started tinkering with Maize Plus more. And probably messing about with capacities for buildings and stuff as well, because that was always something that annoyed me. I haven't done a good spreadsheet in a while for FS. All right, let's see how much we got off so far. That's the wrong one. Looking forward to having some baling kit. Gotta admit. That's potatoes. Wow. We may have a problem. Because we are half full. And we are a long way from being halfway around the field. Jesus, it's a big field. I know they're really small. 65 grand for a bunker silo? You're having a laugh, Mr. Briscoe. You are having a laugh. I don't think I've got any others installed. Charge as much as giants do. I don't think I have any space to put such a thing anyway, unless I lose part of the field. You clearly did set the prices. It's a mod in your map, so I entirely blame you for choosing to leave the price at £65,000. Answers on a postcard to what we should do with the rest that we're going to end up with, because I'm guessing we're going to end up with well over 1 million litres, which from a finances point of view is probably a good thing. I can't work out. I did work out how much I needed to get to break even, and I think we're going to go way past that. So yeah, I might need to look at a bigger fermenting silo to stick in here as well. Yeah, and that's a problem for future me. People can stick ideas in Discord for me if they want, or when this eventually makes it onto YouTube, which will be at some point after the Terra Life stream finishes processing. Which so far, one version has been processing for 24 hours. That is an interesting idea, Nightcloak. Oh, I was trying to avoid baling, and that's quite expensive. That's quite expensive. We won't do that. We won't do that. Or I could do the method that Paul gets really annoyed at and dump it on the floor and then run over it with a normal baler. It's yeah. So with the Terra Life stream, I forgot to do it for this one, but it doesn't matter quite as much. I recorded it locally as well, and then because I realised I was way louder than Paul was, I re-edited the local copy to sort the sound out a bit, and then I did what I usually do and upscaled it to 4K, which meant the 2.5 hour video was 115 gigabytes, which is fun. So I rendered it overnight. I started uploading it at about 4 o'clock yesterday morning, I think it was. And I think it took about 2.5 hours to upload, and it's been processing ever since. It is available at 360p, but I've not released it yet. So this morning I re-rendered it using just DaVinci Resolve's built-in 1440p YouTube settings, and it was 90% smaller, uploaded very quickly, but is still processing. So hopefully I can release it today. I think the render was about 3 hours. I'd let it go overnight. I edited the video after we finished streaming. I think it was about 3 hours. I need to have a play with. I have a 4070 Ti, and I need to have a play with AV1 encoding when I'm using this computer, because that will at least make the videos much smaller to upload. So it'd be really nice if Twitch had AV1 encoding, because then I could set everything up to stream using that as well. But they don't. So I've had the 4070 Ti for a little while. I haven't. The rest of the upgrades to the computer sat on the desk next to me, which is going to be a job for one day this weekend. which is a Ryzen 9 7950X and new motherboard and RAM and 24 terabytes of hard drives. So it's yeah, it's not the X3D, it's just the X, because the X3D has a shed load of issues and costs about £300 more. I looked at the 7800 X3D, which doesn't have all the issues because it's a single CCD processor, because the issues seem to be in balancing the load between the two CCDs. So yeah, that's why I went for that. I actually was going to go for a 5950X because I have an AM4 motherboard, and then got my bonus from work and kind of went a bit nuts. So, but that means that computer is kind of will be finished once I've done all those. It's yeah. So actually, let me just reread. Is there any particular reason you don't record it? I guess the files get huge if you record in 4K, and then yeah, probably easier to record in 2K and then re-upscale the final video. So I don't have a NAS. I had thought about it. I had actually thought about building a NAS out of some of the spare computer kit that I've got. But I would only really use it when I had the computer on anyway, most of the time. So I am sticking the discs in the computer, and then they'll be set up as a Windows storage space, which does RAID. I think it's RAID. I think it's RAID 5. I'll have it as, so there'll be 3 discs, and it'll give me the storage of 2, so that it'll be able to have one drive fail and it'll still work fine, and I can then replace it. So I'm hoping 16 terabytes of actual storage space is enough, because what I have at the moment is not. I'm also tempted to get I don't know if I think they provide to the UK Backblaze, which does an unlimited online backup of whatever you've got stored on your computer for, I think, like $7 a month. If I want any more level of redundancy in the storage. So I don't think I need that. It wouldn't be the end of the world if I lost videos. But I think the most frustrating thing that I've lost is my BGA spreadsheet I did when I was doing all the BGA tutorials, because I deleted the video files and the spreadsheet was in the same folder. That was very annoying. Yeah, and I was obviously only record for one channel at the moment, but doing I do somewhere between 7 and 10 videos a week. It's a lot of footage. It's a lot of footage. So yeah, I don't think I'd want to edit off a NAS. I don't think it'd be quick enough. Unless you've got SSD storage and really good home networking. So I generally edit off of the SSDs that I've got in either my laptop or desktop, and then archive to hard drive. So I'd thought about either picking up. I've got another project on the go, which I think I've mentioned, about running FS on old computers. And so I've just picked up a, guess it's, I don't know what it would be in gen. It's an i3 443 something. So I've got that I could have turned into a NAS. I'd thought about picking up an old Xeon workstation. I spent far too much time browsing eBay. And I will now have my AM4 motherboard, RAM, and CPU that will be coming out of the desktop, which I could have turned into a NAS, but I decided I didn't want I didn't need the permanent onlineness of a NAS. I don't particularly need an ARC GPU in their Nightcloak. The 4070 Ti has 2 hardware video encoders anyway in it, which does AV1 encoding. So, and even when when it's flat out video rendering, it's still got a little bit of headroom. So I wouldn't gain anything out of having one of the Intel GPUs in there. I'd thought about getting one when I was just building the PC originally for video rendering when my laptop died, because they're like 150 quid, something like that. But the 4070 Ti is more than enough for what I do. So, it's yeah, it's got, I can't remember how much VRAM it's got. It's got enough. Because I record in 1440p, VRAM usage and RAM usage in Resolve is not ridiculous. So it's just the final render that goes up to 4K. So anyway, I'm rambling and melting. So thank you all for being here. It's made it much more enjoyable having a bunch of people to chat to. Otherwise, it's just some strange guy talking to himself, which is normally what us YouTube types do, which I find quite strange sometimes. So, yeah, I hopefully will be back tomorrow. The plan was to be on Glenlarvan, but I don't know if I will have skipped time ahead enough, so I might come back on here and finish off the silaging. So if anyone's got suggestions for where I'm going to put the other 90% of the field, that would be very useful. I've no idea what time it'll be. It could be the morning, it could be the afternoon, it could be the evening. So yeah, I will see you all tomorrow.